All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome to a unique video. A lot of you guys have been asking me, what kind of life skills do I do? What kind of beginner stuff? And this is a kind of hard to answer question because, one, I do a lot of stuff, and two, all life skills, or most life skills, are connected to each other in a way. So, like, for example, how do you power level alchemy? Well, you gather and then you combine the materials. That's just like nutshell how to do all this stuff. So what I'm gonna explain is what I do and how I go about doing it. So don't worry, life skillers, I'm not revealing any secrets, and it's not because I am against sharing it. It's like if I told you what to make for profit and then everyone else decide to make it, suddenly it's no longer profitable. So there are a lot of websites out there that you just put in like your life skill numbers, your mastery, and it'll automatically calculate how much like profit you would get for doing certain things. So anyway, plus it changes so often to the point where if I told you what to make today, suddenly next week it's not even relevant anymore. So anyway, I'm going to try to keep this guide as not generic, but like I'll tell you what I do, how to go about doing it. But in terms of what to make, that is something you're going to have to do on your own time and figure that out. So a lot of people, as a starter, ask me, what are some of the best life skills to get into as a beginner? My answer to that always is start out with gathering, because once you decide you want to go gather, it opens up the opportunity, or like it opens up the window of what else you can do. So for example, cooking, if you gather materials, you can do cooking, alchemy, processing. The rest of them are kind of like standalone ones, as in like you do it, but then they don't really connect too much to each other. But let's start off with what are the life skills and are they worth doing before we get into anything. Sailing, obviously, is sailing into the ocean, and bartering. Sailing and bartering are kind of connected in a way. So if you want to start sailing, the best way to raise the XP is going out into the ocean, and by ocean I mean Margoria area. You do not get sailing XP by sailing anywhere where your map is visible unless you have a compass and all that stuff. But anyway, basically once you pass the point of Achilles' Eye, if you are doing sailing out in this area and above, is when you start getting sailing XP. Is sailing a good life skill that's profitable? The sailing skill itself, not really. It's the type of boat you have and how good you are at, like, think of it as like grinding, and just running in circles, killing monsters, but on a boat. So it's kind of like that. Is it as profitable? Not really. It's just something to do that's different. Like, in most games, they don't really have sailing as a life skill, or if they do, it's kind of garbage. So, honestly, sailing, it's kind of fun. It's just relaxing. It's one of those things I think everyone should try at least once. Is it really profitable? Not right now, it's not, but it's different. And honestly, it's not that bad. I do have a sailing video on how to get like the best boat and all that stuff. So if you want to watch that, yeah, just go try sailing. It's either you like it or you don't. There's really no in between. Bartering. Bartering is one of those AFK, or semi-AFK, I should say, life skills that will get you a decent amount of money, but not as much as if you were to just run circles grinding. But it is semi-AFK, as in, like, let's say you set an auto path, like, I don't know. Let's say you want some materials, and you start at Ilia Island. You just go auto path here, barter, set your next auto path wherever else, and then wait 5 minutes, go AFK, make lunch, come back, you're at the next spot, get the barter, set it to the next spot, go AFK again, come back 5 minutes later, you're at the next spot, barter, turn it in, sell it, materials, easy money. However, one thing I will say is bartering does have a cap on how much money you really can make a day. Granted, if you are bartering like super hard, yes, there is a cap of like, I don't know, 800 to 1 billion silver, something along those lines a day, which doesn't seem like a lot, but for the effort you're putting in, which is almost zero if you're just auto-pathing and AFKing and playing another game, then that's pretty good. But yeah, if you're gonna min-max bartering, you're gonna be in the ocean all day, so let's keep that in mind. Good money, it's decent for the amount of effort you put in. Okay, so farming. Basically, you go to an NPC in any town, I believe. I don't know if it's any town, but at least Velia and Heidel. There'll be a fence manager, right? And then you just place them down and you just let grow, like plant seeds, let them grow. Farming is not a good life skill. The reason why anyone would farm is because, one, you want to get to Master 1 and get the Old Moon farms, which means like the Old Moon farms are smaller than the regular farms, and that means you could place more plots in a smaller area, and that's why. So basically, after Master 1, it's irrelevant. What you really do for farming is when you plant a seed, you harvest them, and you get tier 9 horse materials, like the byproducts. So let me show you real quick. So when you harvest the plants, you get these things. These are like these 5 exact things. And you also get like fruit of abundance, or literally any other fruit that has like a different color. And those are used for alchemy. And these are used for tier 9 horse materials. What you should never do is, you see how it gives you a tooltip of, oh, you can exchange these for a contribution XP? No, don't do that, please. What is it? Simple cooking. You simple cook them, you grind 20 of like 2 different fruits, and it'll give you a stonetail fodder. And you use that for tier 9 materials, so that's why I have it. Trading. Trading is... Let's say there's an NPC right here near the stable. Actually, it is somewhere around here. And they have special trade items. And you'd bring trade items from point A to point B, and they give you silver. Obviously, there are many factors, like the distance. Do you have your nodes connected and you get more money? So, like, for example, when people fish, let's say you fish in the ocean somewhere, and then if you dumped it all in Valencia, you would make a lot more money than if you were fishing in Heidel and you sold it to the NPC in Heidel. But honestly, trading is kind of a dead life skill. There are a few high-end usages. So for people who are going for the rich merchant ring, there is a very, very small chance you could get a merchant ring piece off of Valencia trading or something. And just honestly, like, trading is just not in a great spot right now. I don't think it's really worth doing it, even if you are a beginner. It's one of those things that it used to be good back in the day, but it really did not stand the test of time, and it's fallen off compared to every other life skill. So yeah, back in the day, getting Master 2 trade was good, but nowadays not so much. So if you want to do it, sometimes it's like, just to experience it, sure, you'd bring trade materials from point A to point B in any town, and you get trade XP. And sometimes when you gather, you get byproducts, such as like these insect ambers or whatever. There's a lot of different kind of materials from gathering. And then these are also trade items. You bring them from point A to point B, and... oh, I forgot to show you something. So you see how these are the origin, let's say it's Alejandro Farm, right? That tells you where you got it, and the further away from the node you got it, right? So I got it somewhere around here when I was gathering. And if you bring it to Heidel, you get X amount of money based on trading, mastery, whatever. But if you brought it to, like, I don't know, Altanova, you would make more. So that's how trading works in a nutshell. It's kind of like bartering, but on land. Whereas bartering is on sea or in the ocean. Either way, I just explained how it worked. Not really worth it. Training. Training is... It's one of those things you just really have to enjoy doing to do it. So, as you may imagine, training is not really a lot of money early on. It is decent money, but it requires you to be higher up into levels. Well, I mean, so does everything, but training in particular is when you level up, your chance, like the tooltip says, you get a higher chance to like gain more stats as your horse levels from 1 to 30. If you sell a mount to the market, like let's say you hit a 7th Doom horse or something and you want to sell it, you would make more money off of that. Well, it still sells for like what, 10 billion, whatever, but you just don't pay as much, or you collect more and less taxes. So basically, you just make more money the higher level it is, and the higher your level is, you get to learn, like, get a chance at gaining a skill. But the best thing to do is look at this tab of life skills and then training. You get more XP, and breeding and capturing horses is slightly higher. To this day, I still have no idea what the rate to catch a horse is. Like, my understanding of it is you use the rope thingy, catch the horse, get near the horse, feed it some sugar, even if you're like beginner 1, and then you either get it or you don't. I know this is like a general BDO meme. It's like it's 50-50. You either get it or you don't. I love that meme, by the way. But like, I don't even know what the chance to like have the horse like you at that point is. So is it like you give it more sugar and then the higher rate it goes up? I think that's how it works. But we don't know the base one. So anyway, we've gotten to the individual ones. Basically, higher is better. Training is just very good at higher levels. So now we're getting into the like tree chart of life skills. Processing is literally what I'm doing right now. I am processing plywood into planks. Why am I doing that? Because I'm making a video and is either process something or to stand here and do absolutely nothing. So I might as well do something, which is just a good general life tip. Or in BDO, always be doing something. Don't just stand there. Even if you're like making a video talking like me, I don't know, just set your character to fish. Even that's literally more than 0 silver. So anyway, processing, alchemy, cooking, they are all connected to hunting, fishing, and gathering. So obviously fishing goes well with cooking. Get a fish, you cook the fish. Hunting gives you meats, and then meats and bloods from like whatever you're doing, and then you get so hunting and gathering is just similar in a way, but gathering does not kill you, whereas hunting, it does give, I think it is slightly better at higher levels than gathering because you get more. However, with that said, hunting is a little bit dangerous and requires a little bit of effort, whereas gathering, if I'm just going through a loop at like, I don't know, bear or just chopping trees, there is like 0 risk of me dying. So ultimately, I do think gathering is good. So is hunting and fishing. Well, not really fishing, but you get fish by doing stuff. So yeah, let's say you get, I don't know, bloods and meats from gathering, right? Same thing with hunting. You could use the meats for cooking. You could use the bloods for gathering. You could, if you were gathering tree wood or like what I'm doing, timber, plywoods, you could process them into tier 2 materials. So I'm going to use the term tier 1, 2, and 3 materials, okay? So let's use all of these random timbers as tier 1s, right? So when you process these tier 1 materials, well, actually, let's use cedar timber. We'll use cedar timber as a tier 1. And then we'll use the planks as a tier 2 because you turn timbers into planks. So therefore tier 2. And then you turn the planks into plywood, therefore tier 3. And yeah, so what you do with the plywoods is in certain towns they have like various houses that you could like make stuff with them. It really depends on what you're doing. So like if you just look at it, it's really hard for me to tell you what life skill to do because obviously people like doing different things. I personally think alchemy needs a buff because it is just so slow. Give it the good old cooking buff where you can just power level yourself to guru, and then that would be great. So yeah, some people just have literally millions of materials that I'm probably never going to process. Like for me, I have almost 1.4 million elder tree timber just sitting in Altanova. Am I ever going to use it? Probably not. Does it sell? Also no. So it's just going to build up to a few more million over the years, and maybe they'll do something with it. But anyway, yeah, so certain nodes, you will have different things on it. So for example, I have an entire different node video guide of like all the certain nodes I have. So that one would take me like 20 minutes to at least a few hours to explain everything. So if you want to watch that video, just go watch that one. I'll see if I can leave a link in the description if I remember. If not, just ask me for it. But anyway, so you have nodes on there for the things you don't want to gather. So for example, let's use this one. I have a pumpkin node going on. And then we just gather pumpkins while not actually gathering pumpkins. And then you could use this for cooking. So let's get into higher things like Imperial Deliveries and whatnot. So if you go to a person over down there, let me actually just show you real quick. Actually, let's just process them and I'll show you how Imperial Deliveries work. So there's a quest where you could Imperial Delivery. So you hit the Imperial Cuisine, and then let's just make some of these for now. This is a quest you do. You turn in 200 seals to Caroline and Heidel, and she's by like the king buff, whatever. So we're gonna make some skilled boxes. Obviously, the higher level you are, you want to make like Guru at higher end. But just for today, because it's like literally 30 minutes to reset, and I don't have time to collect the materials. So I'm just going to make skilled boxes for today, and I'll show you how it's done. So before we get into anything, how many boxes can you turn in daily? The answer is your contribution number divided by 2. So for me, I have 400 CP, therefore I can do 200 turn-ins a day. So obviously it's going to be different from me to you unless we both have 400. So yeah, they actually did do a like change recently where they reduced the cost from like 50 to 10, which means I can previously I was only able to carry like 50 something in my inventory at my current weight before having or like filling it up, and so I have to do like 4 stops at an Imperial Delivery. Now that they changed it to make it way less, I could literally just do a fat 200 turn in at once and it's easy done. So I didn't really talk about life skill gear. It really just depends on you. Eventually your endgame goal would be to get Monos, right? But up until then, I would go with Logia and skip the blue one and then go straight to Monos. The blue gathering and whatever tools, it might be an upgrade for now, but it feels like it's a dead-end upgrade because eventually you still have to go to Monos. For some pieces, if you could buy it at Pen, like let's say you want, I don't know, clothes, right? And you can't afford a Pen gatherer's clothes, or like you're not going to make it, but you see a blue pen on the market, then that's when you buy it because it is slightly better. Okay, so this NPC right here, Imperial Crafting, talk to them, see how many you could turn in every day. 200. I have 200 boxes. Hold up. Then you change your mastery clothes, and hot dump. We just made like 50 million silver. Easy. Cooking mastery is what you should do if you want to do. Okay, so just look at this one. When you do Imperial Deliveries for cooking, you get extra profit the higher your mastery is. I should really upgrade this to Tet one day, but I'm lazy, and I have the materials. I'm just lazy. So anyway, you get 200 seals, one for every turn in, and then you turn these in. Show the NPC 200 of them, Caroline, I believe. And then you could get some goodies like Mono's tools and whatnot after like 50 days or whatever. So anyway, yeah, you could get cool stuff by doing that. You also make some money. How much money you make really is dependent on like what kind of boxes you're making, along with like, the material. So let's say, how do I say this in a very simple term? If you're cooking or alchemy, you're not just making well, you have to factor in all the costs of it, and then you calculate your profits by your mastery levels, and then that's how much profit you're making, plus you have to sell them. So let's say, I don't know, wolf meat. Okay, so let's say you are making it and you're trying to buy some wolf meat. Obviously, you want to buy the wolf meat at a lower cost, not just buy it because it's on sale or like listed. Certain items really do need a buff. A lot of alchemy materials do need a buff for them to be listed. So you do have to calculate your like how much you're spending and how much you're selling it for, and that is your profit. And obviously, the higher your mastery, the more profit you make. So that's where it's coming in. So that's why when people ask me what life skill should I do as a beginner, like let's say you don't have guru, master, anything. Let's say you're a beginner to, I don't know, artisan. Just go gather. When you gather, start processing, cooking it. At the beginning, you probably won't be making a lot of profit. I'm just gonna be real with you guys. What you're doing is leveling up your skill, and in turn, as you level up your skill, you get more mastery, 5 per level, I believe. That's how it works. And then over time, you're basically doing a long-term investment, and as your numbers go higher, you start using the materials for more stuff and then turning it into whatever. So if I were to give you an honest opinion of what are the best life skills to be doing, and now when I say best, I mean like let's say your mastery is at a decent level, and like you don't have to be 2,000 plus mastery, which is literally the top like 1% of players. Even if your mastery is like 1,200 and up, obviously more is always better. The best things you should be doing is gathering, cooking, and if you're lazy, you could do processing, and sometimes bartering, but there is a kind of a cap on how much bartering you can do a day. Alchemy is one of those things where if you make something, I don't think you're making it to sell. Like elixirs are very valuable for endgame players like myself because I'm using it to like grind or something. So if you're making elixirs, yeah, you could sell them. Are you really making a profit out of it? Not really. So you're just using it to use it for self-use, whereas cooking, you are selling for profit, assuming your numbers are high enough. And so life skills that you could do for just straight up, if you are lazy sometimes and you're just like, okay, I want to gather and just dump all my energy and then sell to the market all the materials that I got. Gathering is that life skill. Same with hunting. Hunting is higher investment, obviously, but over time it will pay off. So I do have videos of basically every life skill more in depth. So I would check those out if you are interested. Or if you are interested in this very specific one, like, I don't know, where do I gather? I have a few videos of those. Check the link in the description. There'll be a playlist, and just find the one you're looking for. So, for the beginners, gather, sell the stuff on the market, or just, start leveling up your other ones. For the advanced players who have mastery, cooking is the better one. And if you like doing everything, I would say the ones that are most profit for intermediate to advanced level players are gathering, hunting, cooking, bartering, training, processing. I'm not too sure. Processing, the higher your level is, it opens up the ability to manufacture and when you process, these are all your abilities, right? And then there are things the more you get, the more you unlock. And so all of these things, you could get more of them to higher your level, and they'll just be ready. So for example, if you want to make guru boxes for Imperial trade, you need guru. What do you know? But you see how these are like artisan and master stuff? That's the level of processing you need for those things to be kind of effective. So I know this is a long video, but all of these are connected in a way that if you do one thing, it could turn into another. The only real standalones are trading, kind of farming, and yeah, these three: farming, trading, training. I guess training and farming go together because you need the materials, but everything, let's just say, works together. So as a start gathering and figure out what to do with that past that point. But with that said, that was just a general basics of life skilling, and the best thing to do is look at this tab and look at what the mastery does at higher levels. And once you figure that out, that's when you could start calculating profits. But for lumbering and gathering and all this stuff, there's a lot of buffs you really want to add. And this is something that people don't really talk about, even though it should be basic info, but it's not really. So for example, buffs like this, where it's 100 skill mastery or an extra gathering drop rate, life skill buffs. Mastery is very valuable. And for your average player looking at it, it's just oh, it's an extra 100 mastery. One mastery is very valuable at high end. And let's say you're pushing 18, 19, 2000 brackets of mastery. That is literally the difference of 100, and that's literally hundreds of million silver profit at high end. So if you get those mastery life skill scrolls and you're just a beginner, I would save them. And let's say by the time you get to guru or something and your mastery is literally super up there, and you have an extra 80 scrolls that you've been saving all that time, you'll thank me one day. So yeah, once you get up into the higher thing, what you're gonna look for are processing stones, because this one will help you process a lot. You could also use some processing artifacts. What I have is processing mastery. That's pretty good. Mastery is more for advanced level players where their levels are higher than your average. So having an extra bracket of mastery literally means more profit. Whereas if you're a beginner and you're trying to just level up XP, XP is good for beginners, whereas mastery is more for the people who have a general basic understanding of what to do. So yeah, that's just my opinions. Get the life stones that matter for you. So for example, I have a processing, alchemy, cooking, gathering, cooking mastery versus cooking regularly for XP versus money. So it's a lot of information to take in, and I understand it, and I'm like trying to explain all of this in 30 minutes, whereas the general knowledge of everything will literally take you months to understand. Like, so in 30 minutes, I did what I could to explain how all this works as a basic understanding. But for you guys, as a beginner, what I would say is focus on 1 to 2 or maybe 3 life skills. Don't just try to do all of it at once, because mastery of it is valuable more than being a jack of all trades. This took me, like, honestly, nowadays it's kind of easy to get it, so you could get to where I am. Like, especially, like, the hardest ones I would say are alchemy, gathering, training. Yeah, those are really the only hard ones nowadays. The rest are just like AFK activities, go have fun. But yeah, so if you have any questions, definitely feel free to ask. I'm happy to answer questions. And as I said in the beginning, it's not that I don't want to tell you guys like how to profit off like cooking and whatnot. It's just if I say what to make and everyone else does it, then suddenly it's no longer profitable for anyone. So there are websites out there. Just put in your mastery numbers and say like what you want to do, and then it'll just calculate all the profits for you, and you just have to do it. So yeah, ultimately, just this is a video game. I know I just like hit you guys with a lot of math and numbers, but just do what you enjoy. I like gathering, and I like doing the AFK ones mostly. So that's just me. Do what you like, and I will see you guys later.